In my previous life, at my 25th birthday party, my fiancé, Justin Hayes, publicly broke off our engagement. He claimed he had fallen deeply in love with his savior, a woman who had fought desperately to save his life. He declared that a common, superficial civilian like me, Eleanor Vance, was unworthy of his soul, which had experienced the depths of life and death. I cried, I begged, I pleaded, only to receive a meticulously planned car accident that ended my life, leaving me consumed by resentment. Reborn, I returned to the night of the birthday party. Justin was leading that woman toward me, ready to deliver his verdict. I didn't wait for him. I preemptively slipped off the engagement ring and handed it to him with a smile. Since you've found true love, I wish you 100 years of harmony and early conception of children. I knew then that this so-called savior, Sierra Reed, was the woman who would send his entire family straight to hell. My 20th birthday party was also supposed to be my engagement party with Justin Hayes. The ballroom was dazzling with fluorescent lights and packed with guests. Justin was late. When he finally appeared, he was leading a woman by the hand. She wore a washed-out cotton dress and was barefoot, a noticeable scar visible on her ankle. She seemed panicked and helpless, hiding behind Justin like a startled deer. I recognized her. Sierra Reed. In the last life, she was the one who destroyed everything I had. Justin dragged me to a corner, his expression cold and rigid. Ellie, we are breaking off the engagement. I looked at him, remaining silent. My composure seemed to enrage him, and his voice rose several octaves. A month ago, I was kidnapped, and she saved me. She was beaten by those men and had her leg broken because of me. She lay in the hospital for half a month. I owe her, and I can never repay that debt in this lifetime. I'm going to marry her. The surrounding guests noticed the commotion, and the buzzing whispers sounded like a swarm of flies. My parents' faces turned instantly crimson. My mother, Carol, rushed over, pointing a finger at Justin. Justin Hayes, are you insane? How dare you disgrace the Vance family like this? Justin's mother, Brenda Hayes, approached and pulled my mother aside, wearing a forced smile. Dear Carol, please don't be upset. It's not Justin's fault. It's simply that Miss Reed's sacrifice was so profound. We can't possibly be ungrateful, can we? Though her mouth spoke apologies, the triumph in her eyes was unmistakable. She had always disliked me, thinking my family was too ordinary for her distinguished son. In the previous life, this was the moment I collapsed. I hysterically questioned Justin about our 5 years together. I pointed at Sierra, calling her a shameless mistress. Justin responded by slapping me, calling me vicious and ignorant. That day, I became the laughingstock of the entire elite circle. But now, I wouldn't. I looked at the farce unfolding before me and found it utterly ridiculous. Under their stunned gaze, I slowly removed the diamond ring from my ring finger. The large pink diamond, which Justin had personally purchased at auction, was once my most treasured possession. I placed the ring directly into Justin's palm. Good. That single word brought the entire venue to a sudden silence. Justin was stunned. His mother was stunned. Even Sierra, who was waiting for the drama to unfold, was stunned. I turned to Justin and gave him a perfectly composed smile. Since you have found the person you want to spend your life with, I should offer my congratulations. I turned to Sierra, who was shrinking behind Justin. Miss Reed, congratulations to you. I even extended my hand, actively grasping her icy fingers. Justin doesn't have the best temper, so you'll need to be very patient with him. Sierra's face flushed red and then white, as if she were seeing a ghost. Justin's gaze was complex shock, suspicion, and perhaps even a hint of loss. I didn't give him time to process his emotions. I walked to the microphone at the center of the hall and spoke clearly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending my birthday party tonight. There has been a small change of plans. Mr. Justin Hayes and I have decided to peacefully dissolve our engagement due to incompatible personalities. Starting today, our contract is null and void, and we have no further relationship. After speaking, I bowed deeply to the audience. When I raised my head, I saw my parents' tear-filled eyes and the bewildered faces of the Hayes family. Excellent. This was just the beginning. The party ended abruptly. My parents were shaking with anger. My mother nearly fainted on the spot. I helped them back home and calmly poured them water. Dad, Mom, getting angry over people like them isn't worth it. Carol grabbed my hand, tears streaming down her face. Ellie, stop pretending. Cry if you need to. I know how wronged you are. I shook my head, my heart completely calm. Wronged. The grievances of the previous life had been drained dry by that car crash. In this life, I would only live for myself. Mom, I'm not pretending. I genuinely believe that you can't force happiness. Since he doesn't love me, why should I cling to him? My father, Robert, slammed his hand on the mahogany table. The Hayes family has gone too far. Tomorrow, I'm pulling all our company's cooperation agreements with them. Wait. I stopped him immediately. Dad, business is business. Don't let emotions dictate our decisions. In the last life, my father had clashed with the Hayes family to defend my honor, leading to both sides suffering heavy losses. Eventually, our company's funding dried up, and we declared bankruptcy. The Hayes family, supported by Sierra's backing, not only remained unscathed but also swallowed our assets. This time, I would never let that happen. Our company needed to thrive. The Hayes company needed to be utterly ruined. After calming my parents, I locked myself in my room. I pulled out my phone and dialed an unfamiliar number. The phone rang for a long time before being answered by a husky male voice. Who is this? It's me. A few seconds of silence followed, then a light laugh. Well, Miss Vance, it's been a while. What is it this time? Do you want to know what color underwear Justin is wearing today? The man, Marco, was a private investigator and an old college acquaintance. In my past life, when I was blinded by love, I often paid him to track Justin's movements. Looking back, it was laughably foolish. No need to track him, I said flatly. I need you to investigate someone else. Sierra Reed. Sierra Reed. Marco sounded surprised. Justin's new flame. His information was clearly up to date. Yes. What exactly do you need? Everything. Her past, her family, her relationships, especially her connection to the people on the West Side. Marco's breathing hitched on the other end of the line. Miss Vance. The West Side crew, they are serious trouble. I know. Of course. I knew. In the previous life, that crew was responsible for my accident. Their leader was Sierra Reed's own brother, Leo Reed. Money is no object. I just need results. All right. Marco agreed quickly. I'll get you the information in 3 days. I hung up the phone and gazed out at the moonlit sky, a cold smile playing on my lips. Justin. Sierra. Enjoy your last 3 days of peace. The next morning, I was woken up by my mother's shriek. I rushed out of the room to find Carol pointing at the doorway, too furious to speak. Standing there was Justin's mother, Brenda Hayes, followed by a nervously fidgeting Sierra. Sierra was dressed in an expensive Chanel suit, and her hair was carefully styled. But her timid, cowering demeanor made the clothes look ill-fitting, like a child playing dress-up. Carol, please don't be angry. I came here today to apologize. Brenda smiled broadly, maintaining a low posture. My mother scoffed. We are no longer relatives. State your business, or leave. Brenda's expression stiffened, but she quickly recovered, pulling Sierra forward. This child insisted on coming to apologize to Ellie face-to-face. She says it's all her fault. If it weren't for her, Ellie and Justin wouldn't have broken up. Sierra immediately lowered her head, her eyes welling up. Miss Vance, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you and Justin were engaged. If I had known, I absolutely wouldn't have. As she spoke, tears began to fall, perfectly embodying the image of a pitiful damsel. What a spectacular white lotus. In the last life, I was fooled by this appearance, believing she was truly an innocent victim. Carol was about to launch into a tirade, but I stopped her. I walked up to Sierra, pulled out a tissue, and gently wiped away her tears. Miss Reed, please don't cry. How can this possibly be your fault? My gesture stunned both Sierra and Brenda. I took Sierra's hand, my expression sincere. You risked your life to save Justin. That kind of devotion should override an engagement, even a marriage. Love is unreasonable. After all, the person who is no longer loved is the real third party. I spoke with deep conviction, as if genuinely moved by her and Justin's celestial romance. Sierra's expression was bizarre, like she'd been constipated for weeks. Brenda looked at me as if I had grown a second head. Ignoring them, I continued. Did you come here for a particular reason? Brenda finally snapped out of her daze and cleared her throat. Yes. Ellie, I know you've been wronged. This card contains $5 million, which is my compensation to you. The pin is Justin's birthday. She handed over a bank card. The same tactic. In the last life, she had used money to humiliate me. I was so angry I threw the card in her face and called her names. The media captured the moment, reporting that the Vance heiress was spoiled and threw a tantrum after being rejected. This time, I took the card with a smile. Thank you, Auntie. My reaction again caught them off guard. Brenda, who had clearly prepared a lengthy speech for my expected outburst, was silenced. I carefully tucked the card away, then looked at them with a troubled expression. However, Auntie, Miss Reed, there's one small thing I might need your help with. Brenda immediately said. Name it. Anything we can do. It's simple, I said, pointing toward my room. I still have some things at Justin's villa from when I lived there. Some of them are my dowry items from my mother and are quite valuable. I'd like to move them out today. Brenda agreed instantly. Of course. Of course. I'll call Justin right away and have him help you move. No need. I smiled. Justin is busy. I won't trouble him. I'll go myself. I paused, then added, besides, once I've moved out, Miss Reed can move in sooner. Right. My consideration caused Sierra's face to pale further. Brenda, however, was delighted. She grabbed my hand and praised me incessantly for being mature and understanding. Ellie, don't worry. You'll always be like a daughter to me. Brenda Hayes. If you ever need anything, just call your godmother. I smiled and nodded, scoffing internally. Godmother. I doubt you'll live long enough for that. I followed Brenda and Sierra back to Justin's villa. This house had been meticulously decorated by me. Every corner held memories of my former love. Photos of Justin and me smiling happily under the northern lights still hung on the wall. How ironic. Brenda seemed embarrassed and instructed the staff. Quickly, take all these down. Sierra stood awkwardly in the center of the living room, twisting her hands. I ignored her and went straight upstairs to pack my things. I had a lot of belonging clothes, bags, jewelry filling over 10 boxes. Brenda watched the stack of boxes, a look of reluctance in her eyes. Most of these things were expensive gifts from Justin. I deliberately opened a jewelry box, revealing the imperial green jade set me mother's dowry. Oh, this needs to be handled carefully, Mom said when she bought this set. It was enough to buy an apartment in the city center. I mentioned it casually. Brenda's eyes widened. Sierra strained her neck to see. I closed the box and put it into a separate trunk. Auntie, I can leave everything else, but I absolutely must take my mother's dowry. Of course. Of course. Brenda quickly agreed. By the time I finished packing, the movers had arrived. Workers filed in and out, loading my boxes onto the truck. Finally, only a few odds and ends remained. I picked up a photo frame from the tablia picture of Justin and me on our trip to Iceland. I stared at the image for a few seconds, then handed it to Sierra. Here, you can have this. Sierra froze. You're the one who will be by his side now, I said with a smile. I hope you can create many beautiful memories together, too. My magnanimity made Sierra look even more distressed. She took the photo frame, her fingers white-knuckled as if she wanted to crush it. Just then, Justin returned. Seeing the messy state of the house and the luggage at my feet, he frowned deeply. Ellie, what are you doing? His tone was accusatory. Before I could reply, Brenda quickly interjected. Justin, you're back just in time. Ellie is moving her things out. This will be your and Sierra's home now. Justin's gaze fixed on me, his eyes full of complexity. Does it have to be like this? What else? I countered. Did you expect me to stay and watch your passionate drama unfold? Justin was left speechless, his face alternating between red and pale. I picked up my last suitcase, ready to leave. As I passed him, I paused. Justin, I wish you happiness. I meant it sincerely. After all, the happier he was now, the faster he would meet his doom. I pulled my suitcase and walked out of the place I once called home without looking back. Behind me, I heard Sierra's stifled sobs and Justin's impatient attempt to comfort her. Stop crying. Isn't it better now that she's gone? The curve of my mouth widened. The show had just begun. The day after I moved back home, Justin called me. When I answered, he was silent for a long time before speaking. Ellie, that ring. Oh, the engagement ring. I said lightly. It's here with me. What? Does Miss Reed want it? Justin's voice was strained. It's a Hayes family item. It should be returned. Sure, I can do that. I agreed easily. But the ring is at my parents' house. If you have the nerve, come get it yourself. Then, I hung up. I knew he would come. A woman like Sierra would never tolerate me keeping the engagement ring of her new man. Sure enough, the doorbell rang half an hour later. My father, Robert, opened the door, and the sight of Justin and Sierra instantly darkened his expression. What are you doing here? You are not welcome in this house. Justin's face was equally unpleasant, but he maintained his patience. Mr. Vance, I'm here to pick up something from Ellie. Sierra stood behind him, head bowed, portraying a picture of great grievance. Carol heard the noise and emerged from the kitchen, still holding a spatula. Pick up something. What? Justin Hayes. I'm telling you, nothing belonging to our Ellie has anything to do with you anymore. Get out. Just as they were about to argue, I slowly descended the stairs. Dad, Mom, don't be angry. I asked him to come. I walked up to Justin and held out my hand. The ring. Justin seemed to find his footing. Ellie, give me the ring. I smiled, then turned and retrieved a small velvet box from the hall cabinet. The ring is right here. I opened the box. The massive pink diamond glittered under the light. Sierra's eyes immediately lit up, and her breathing quickened with desire. I held the box out to her. Miss Reed, this ring is yours now. Sierra reached out impatiently to take it, but I pulled my hand back, avoiding her touch. I looked at Justin, smiling meaningfully. Justin, are you sure you want her to wear this ring? Justin frowned. What do you mean? Nothing much, I said, toying with the ring. It just has a bit of a story. Before my grandmother passed away, she had a master bless it. The master said the ring has a spirit. It will protect the woman who wears it and bless her marriage with happiness and fidelity. I paused, turning my gaze to Sierra, my smile deepening. Of course. The prerequisite is that the wearer must be a woman who entered the marriage honorably and cleanly. If she used some disgraceful means to take her position, the ring's spiritual energy might just turn into a curse. The moment my words finished, the air was thick with tension. Sierra's face instantly went pale, utterly bloodless. She stared at the ring, her eyes filled with greed mixed with obvious terror. Justin's expression became extremely grim. He wasn't stupid. He understood the mockery hidden in my words. Ellie, stop spreading nonsense. Spreading nonsense. I raised an eyebrow. Believe it or not, in any case, I wouldn't dare wear it. I shoved the box into Justin's hand. Take it. I hope Miss Reed wears it peacefully. With that, I turned to go upstairs. Wait. Sierra suddenly called out. She stared at me intensely, trying to discern a lie on my face. Miss Vance, do you know something? I stopped, looked back at her, and smiled innocently. Know what? I don't know anything. I just know that people should be kind. After all, man proposes, God disposes. Leaving those words hanging in the air, I ignored their highly expressive faces and walked upstairs. After closing my bedroom door, I could hear my mother's delighted laughter from downstairs. A little later, I heard the sound of a car starting downstairs. Justin and Sierra had retreated in humiliation. I walked to the window and watched the black Bentley disappear into the night. I knew that starting today, a deep, unremovable thorn was planted in Sierra's mind, and that thorn would soon take root and grow, piercing her until she was unrecognizable. The next day, Marco called. Miss Vance, I've sent the documents to your email. His voice sounded tired. But I must warn you, this Sierra Reed is not simple. Her brother, Leo Reed, is the leader of the Iron Fist Syndicate on the West Side. It's a place for career criminals, and they'll do anything. I know. You know. Marco sounded surprised. And you still dared to provoke her. I haven't provoked her, I said calmly. I am just taking back what belongs to me. I hung up and opened my computer, clicking on the encrypted file Marco sent. After entering the password, I unzipped the file. It contained all the information on Sierra Reed, detailed down to her grades from primary school. I skimmed through it quickly. Sierra Reed, 24, born in a West Side slum, gambler father, deceased mother. She and her brother, Leo, relied on each other. Leo dropped out of school in his teens to join the streets and quickly became a local tyrant. And Sierra was far from the pure, innocent girl she pretended to be. She was expelled from high school for fighting and had been running with Leo's gang ever since. The file included several photos. Sierra, wearing heavy makeup and revealing clothes, was seen drinking and gambling with a group of men in a bar, laughing wildly and unrestrainedly. She was completely unrecognizable from the timid girl at the Hayes mansion. The most crucial part was the report on the kidnapping. Marco found that the alleged kidnappers were all Leo Reed's subordinates. The entire harrowing Hero Prince drama was a carefully staged operation from start to finish. The goal was to allow Sierra to naturally approach Justin and integrate into the Hayes family. I looked at Sierra's innocent face on the screen, my cold smile growing wider. In the previous life, I died without ever knowing the truth. I believed Sierra was just a poor woman overcome by love. Now I know she wasn't pathetic. She was hateful. And Justin, he was the #1 idiot in the world, blinded by desire and delusion. I backed up the data and then completely deleted the email. This evidence wasn't ready to be released yet. I needed to wait for the perfect moment to deliver them an unforgettable gift. That afternoon, I met my best friend for shopping. At the mall, I ran into Mike, one of Justin's old buddies. Mike looked awkward when he saw me. Ellie, are you okay? I'm great. I smiled serenely. Why? Do I look unwell? No. Mike waved his hands hastily. It's just I feel bad for that idiot Justin. What's there to feel bad about? I said. He found true love. I should congratulate him. My display of maturity only made Mike feel sorrier for me. He sighed. I really don't know what Justin was thinking. He dumped a gem like you for some woman who came out of nowhere. Oh, by the way, I saw that Sierra Reed yesterday. Oh, where? I asked, feigning curiosity. At the Nightfall bar on the west side. She was with a bunch of guys, dressed well. You know, Mike looked disgusted. I almost took a photo to send Justin, but then I thought better of it. Why cause trouble? I smirked inwardly but said, you must be mistaken. Sierra isn't like that. How could a girl like her go to a place like that? The more I defended Sierra, the more agitated Mike became. I'm not mistaken. I saw her clearly. She was even hugging and being intimate with a guy covered in tattoos. Really? I feigned great astonishment. Then maybe I judged her wrong. I lowered my head, adopting an expression of sorrow on Justin's behalf. Mike, who always resented Justin's arrogance, became even more indignant seeing my distress. Ellie, don't be sad. Justin is blind. He'll regret this deeply. You wait and see. I gave a bitter smile and said nothing more. But I knew that before long, these words would reach Brenda Hayes' ears. Word for word. Brenda was obsessed with reputation. She could tolerate a common daughter-in-law, but absolutely not a promiscuous, unsavory woman entering the Hayes family. The thought of Brenda's horrified face when she learned the truth made me want to laugh. Just as predicted. The next day, Brenda called me. Her voice was thick with anxiety and distrust. Ellie, dear, I need you to tell me the truth. Yes. Auntie, do you know something about that Sierra Reed? I played dumb. Miss Reed. What could I know? Brenda was frantic. Don't play innocent with me. Mike already told me. He said he saw her at a bar, getting physical with other men. Ellie, tell me, is this true? I paused, then sighed softly. Auntie, this I shouldn't say. The more evasive I was, the more desperate Brenda became. Why not tell me? Tell me quickly. What kind of trash is that woman? Auntie, please calm down. I soothed her. Actually, I'm not entirely sure either. But one time, when I went to see Justin, I saw a message pop up on her phone. It was from a brother Leo, asking her when she would secure the money. I didn't think much of it then. Maybe it's just a common name. Brother Leo. Brenda's voice shot up. Isn't her brother's name Leo Reed? Is it? I honestly didn't know that. I continued my innocent act. On the other end, Brenda's breathing grew ragged. She sounded furious. Good. That's Sierra Reed. How dare she try to scheme her way into the Hayes family? Auntie, don't get too upset. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Miss Reed seems so simple. She doesn't look like someone who would do that. I offered words of caution. But internally, I was celebrating. Given Brenda's suspicious nature, once doubt was planted, she would pursue the truth like a mad dog until she uncovered everything. Simple. I call it calculating. Brenda sneered. Ellie, thank you for telling me this. I know what to do now. After hanging up, I could practically visualize the domestic storm about to erupt at the Hayes residence. I leisurely brewed a cup of flower tea and sat on the balcony to enjoy the sun. Next, it was time for Justin to take the stage. I sent him a text message. Justin, are you free? Let's meet up. I have a few things I want to return to you personally. After sending the message, I put my phone down and closed my eyes. The fish had taken the bait. Justin and I met at a coffee shop we used to frequent. He arrived looking terrible, with dark circles under his eyes, clearly having slept poorly. Why did you ask to see me? He sat down, his tone hostile. I didn't answer. I merely slid a small box across the table toward him. He opened it and froze. Inside were all the significant gifts he had given me. Watches, necklaces, earrings, each one costly. What is this supposed to mean? He frowned. It means nothing. I took a sip of my coffee. We broke up. These things naturally belong to you. Ellie, do you have to be so meticulous with our accounts? His voice was edged with resentment. Why not? I looked at him, my eyes as calm as stagnant water. Justin, we are over. I don't want any connection with you whatsoever. My resolve seemed to sting him. He was silent for a long time before speaking in a hoarse voice. Can we truly not go back? I laughed. Justin, are you joking with me? You chose another woman, publicly humiliated me at our engagement party, and made me a laughingstock. Now you ask me if we can go back. Do you think that's possible? He was rendered speechless, his face flushing and then paling. I looked at him, feeling not a single ripple of emotion. Before, the slightest frown from him would have sent me into a panic. Now, if he died in front of me, I wouldn't even blink. Ellie, I know I wronged you. He took a deep breath, seeming to make a difficult decision. But Sierra is innocent. She saved my life, and I can't abandon her. And so, I hope you won't interfere with her life. His gaze hardened. My mother went to see her today and had a huge fight. I know you must have said something to my mother. I nearly burst out laughing. What a hopelessly stupid man. Even now, he was defending that woman. What did I say? I challenged him. I merely told Auntie Brenda what I saw and heard. Is the truth forbidden now? You. Justin stood up, his chest heaving. Ellie, I'm warning you. Don't push this too far. Sierra is frail. She can't handle stress. If you dare hurt her again, don't expect any mercy from me. Mercy? I asked, as if I'd heard the funniest joke. Is there still mercy between us? I stood up, towering over him. Justin, stop clinging to your pathetic need to protect her. Your innocent little white rabbit might just be a bone-eating wolf. Think about it carefully. Why would a woman who would risk her life for you appear exactly when you were about to inherit the family business? Why would a simple, kind girl have so many friends in the criminal underworld? I've said my piece. Take care of yourself. With that, I grabbed my bag and walked away. I didn't look back, but I felt the burning gaze behind me, a gaze filled with doubt, suspicion, and internal struggle. The seed was planted. Now, I just had to wait for it to sprout, grow into a towering tree, and completely destroy all his trust and sanity. The Hayes family descended into chaos. Brenda hired investigators to look into Sierra, and the findings were even more damning than Marcos. Sierra not only had inappropriate relationships with multiple men, but was also burdened by massive gambling debts. Her brother, Leo Reed, was a notorious career criminal. Brenda, enraged, immediately threw Sierra out of the house, along with all the expensive clothes and bags Justin had bought her, leaving them on the street. Justin, for Sierra's sake, argued with Brenda for the first time. Mother and son fought furiously. Justin refused to believe Sierra was a bad person. He was convinced Brenda and I had conspired to frame her. He moved out with Sierra, renting an apartment, and even cut ties with his family. Brenda suffered a stress-induced heart attack and was hospitalized. Hayes Group stock plummeted due to the negative press. The entire elite society was watching the Hayes family implode. As the seemingly wronged victim of the whole drama, I received countless expressions of sympathy. My parents were excessively protective, worried about any lingering emotional distress. I used this time to persuade Robert to gradually shift our company's focus from traditional manufacturing, which relied heavily on Hayes contracts, to the emerging internet sector. In the past life, our reliance on Hayes was what destroyed us. This time, I was preparing far in advance. I spent my days busy reviewing projects and attending meetings, feeling incredibly fulfilled. Occasionally, I would hear rumors about Justin and Sierra. They said the pair were living miserably after moving out. Justin's bank accounts were frozen by Brenda, leaving him financially cut off. A privileged young man like him was unprepared for such hardship. Sierra also shed her gentle facade, becoming openly aggressive and demanding. The couple fought daily over money. Once, Justin even resorted to hitting Sierra. When Leo Reed found out, he brought his gang, cornered Justin in an alley, and broke his leg. Justin was left bloody on the ground, calling his so-called friends for help. No one came. Eventually, a kind passerby called the police, and he was taken to the hospital. When I heard this news, I was in the middle of a meeting with my project team. I simply said, "Oh," dismissively, and continued discussing the proposal. Justin's misery was irrelevant to me. A few days later, an unexpected person came to see me. Justin's father, Victor Hayes. He met me at a tea house, looking haggard and aged by 10 years. "Miss Vance." He poured me tea, his posture incredibly deferential. "I know it's inappropriate for me to seek you out now, Mr. Hayes. Please speak frankly." Victor sighed. "It's about my errand son, Justin. You've seen the state of the Hayes Group. The board is pressuring me. If the stock drops any further, Hayes will collapse. And so, I'm asking you for a favor." Victor looked at me with a hint of desperation. "I know Justin wronged you, but you did share so many years together. I need you to publicly clarify the situation to the media. Just say that your breakup was purely due to personality conflicts and had nothing to do with Sierra. If you can stabilize the investors' emotions and let the stock recover, Hayes Group can survive this crisis." I laughed. "Mr. Hayes, have you misunderstood something? Why would I help you? Is it because Justin humiliated me at the engagement party? Or because Brenda tried to dismiss me with $5 million? Or perhaps because Justin told my mother that a hothouse flower like me couldn't possibly understand real love?" With every sentence I spoke, Victor's face grew paler. By the end, he was ashen. "Ellie, I know the Hayes family has done wrong by you." He took a file from his bag and slid it across the table. "This is 10% of Hayes Group stock. If you agree to help, this is yours. 10% of the stock. A huge offer. In the previous life, my father begged and pleaded to save our company and couldn't even secure 1% of Hayes stock. Now, Victor was handing it over willingly. How the tables had turned. I picked up the document, and without even glancing at it, I tore it into shreds right in front of him. "Mr. Hayes, you still don't understand my intention." I looked him straight in the eye, speaking slowly and clearly. "I don't want money, and I don't want shares. What I want is for your Hayes family to be ruined and disgraced." Victor was too stunned by my words to speak. He had probably never imagined that the young girl who once followed Justin everywhere, eyes full of adoration, could harbor such cruel determination. He walked away, utterly defeated. I knew the final end of the Hayes Group was imminent. A few days later, the news broke. Hayes Group chairman Victor Hayes arrested by police on suspicion of massive financial fraud. Hayes Group internal accounts reveal severe losses across multiple projects. The corporation is on the brink of bankruptcy. Iron Fist Syndicate revealed as Hayes Group's largest creditor. Leader Leo Reed is the biological brother of Justin Hayes' fiancée, Sierra Reed. The headlines hit like repeated atomic bombs, shattering the Hayes Group to pieces. The fuse for all this was a package of documents I anonymously sent to the Securities and Exchange Commission. The files detailed how Victor Hayes had used his position to embezzle funds, inflate profits, and cook the books over the years. The evidence was provided by Victor's own driver, a loyal employee of 20 years who was ruthlessly fired over a trivial mistake. As for the connection between the Iron Fist Syndicate and Sierra, that was Marco's contribution. He followed Sierra's trail and unearthed a massive scandal. Leo Reed had been targeting the Hayes fortune for years. He orchestrated the rescue to install Sierra within the family, while Sierra tricked money out of Justin. Leo, acting as the creditor, tighten the noose around the corporation. It was a perfect squeeze play. Victor was arrested, and Brenda collapsed, bedridden. The Hayes Group had no leadership and fell into anarchy. Leo Reed took advantage of the chaos, sending his men into the Hayes headquarters under the pretense of collecting debt and looting everything of value. The Hayes family mansion was seized by the courts for auction. The once glorious Hayes family collapsed overnight. Justin and Sierra, the perpetrators of the initial betrayal, had vanished. Some said they had taken the money they swindled from the Hayes family and fled abroad. Others claimed that Leo, viewing them as liabilities, had them both disposed of, their bodies dumped in the river. Whatever the truth, it no longer mattered. Their ending was guaranteed to be miserable. On this day, Robert Vance's company successfully secured a major government-sponsored internet project. At the celebration dinner, Robert, slightly drunk, held my hand, tears streaming down his face. "Ellie, thank God we listened to you. Otherwise, the Vance family would likely be facing the same fate as the Hayes family now." I smiled and wiped his tears. "Dad, it's all in the past." Yes, it was all in the past. The grievances of the last life, and the revenge of this one, had vanished with the destruction of the Hayes family. After the dinner, I drove alone to the beach. The evening breeze was cool and carried the scent of salt. I took off my heels and walked barefoot on the sand. My phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, and a familiar, yet strangely desolate, voice came through. It was Justin. His voice was hoarse, defeated, and full of despair. "Ellie, it was you, wasn't it? All of Tease, it was all your plan, wasn't it?" I didn't answer, listening in silence. On the other end, I heard his stifled, cracking sobs. Why did you do this to me? What did I do wrong?" I smiled, and a tear finally escaped my eye. "What did you do wrong?" "You didn't do anything wrong, Justin. You were just stupid." With that, I hung up and blocked the number. I looked up at the moon, large and bright. I took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. Starting today, Eleanor Vance was truly reborn.